220 million euros. That's the highest number in world football right now. And here's the crazy part. It's not held by one player, but two, tied at the top. One is 25. The other is 18. Messi never hit this number. Ronaldo never hit it. Neymar never hit it. 5 years ago, a figure like this would have sounded like science fiction. And the real gut punch is who's sitting at number 3. Kylian Mbappé, the guy who had most expensive player in the world, practically welded to his name for 5 straight years, is now in 3rd place. You heard that right. This is the same Mbappé who's won a World Cup, who's put up elite goal-scoring numbers year after year, whose commercial value sits in the global top 3. He hasn't gotten injured. He hasn't declined. Not a single stat is trending downward. And he still got knocked off the throne by 2 other guys. 5 years ago, nobody would have believed this. Back then, the moment football valuations came up, 3 names came to mind instantly. Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar. Names burned into an entire era's memory. Then Mbappé picked up that torch and basically monopolized every conversation about the most valuable player alive. Speed, goals, a World Cup title, commercial power. Those labels felt permanently stitched to him. Nobody thought anyone could shake that position anytime soon. But football never runs short on surprises. And lately, the valuation rankings have been getting reshuffled at a pace you can watch happen in real time. The old logic used to be simple. Whoever's the biggest star sits at the top, earned through resume, trophies, and years of grinding it out. That's just not how it works anymore. Now, it's a wave of young talents rising all at once. No waiting around to build a resume. No need for a World Cup title to make a name. Some are hitting historic valuations at 18. Others, who once held the title of the world's best striker, are getting pushed down the list. This isn't the decline of one guy. It's a shift in how the entire sport gets evaluated. The market isn't just asking how bright you shone at your peak anymore. It's asking how much certainty you can offer right now and going forward. How many more years you can play at the top level. Whether your ceiling has even been found yet, whether your commercial value still has room to grow. The answers to those questions decide whether the number in front of a player's valuation starts with a 1 or a 2. Hey everyone, welcome back to Futverse. Today we're breaking down the 10 most valuable players in football right now, top to bottom, and digging into the power shift hiding behind this list. Why did Mbappé drop to 3rd? And how did 2 players with completely different styles end up tied at 220 million euros? A number nobody's ever touched before. Let's go through them one by one. Number 10, Pedri. Some guys on this list win with power. Some win with explosiveness. Some win on pure potential. Pedri wins with something rarer. Midfield intelligence. Watching Pedri play, nothing about it is loud. He's not out here throwing flashy stepovers to grab attention, not chasing highlight reel moves for the applause. If anything, his game is understated. But that's exactly what lets him take a chaotic situation and simplify it. When the midfield gets swallowed by high-intensity pressing, Pedri's the one who can turn his body, play one clean pass, and reset his team's rhythm. He's not always the guy delivering the killer through ball that leads directly to a goal, but he's the guy who keeps Barcelona's rhythm on track, and that's the kind of quiet ability that determines whether an entire team functions smoothly. Not many pure playmaking midfielders crack the top 10 of the valuation list, because that kind of game intelligence is hard to quantify. Nowhere near as obvious as a striker's goal count. The fact that Pedri's up here says something. Elite game reading and control are still the things top clubs are least willing to let go of. Some fans joke that the best way to evaluate Pedri is to watch Barcelona play without him. When he's out, the team's passing efficiency and overall rhythm visibly drop. That's the type of player who's hardest to replace, the kind whose value only becomes obvious once he's gone. He plays a similarly essential role in Spain's national team possession system. His presence practically sets the floor for how well the whole attack functions. 120 million euros buys you not stats, but the operating system of an entire team. Number 9. Julian Álvarez. What makes Álvarez expensive is that he's never been the type of forward who needs to be babied. A lot of top strikers need their own personal script. Service delivered a certain way, tactics bent around them, teammates running specific patterns to feed them. Álvarez is nothing like that. He can hold up play, press, drop deep to help build attacks, and still finish coolly inside the box. Stick him at the tip of a 4-3-3 and he scores. Play him as a second striker in a 4-4-2 and he's still a threat. Push him out wide and his work rate and physicality won't let the team down either. A World Cup winner, and his transition from Manchester City to Atletico Madrid didn't skip a beat. Plenty of players go through an obvious adjustment period, leaving a super club, but Álvarez plugged in almost seamlessly and immediately carried attacking responsibility in a new environment. That kind of plays anywhere, works everywhere reliability is exactly what modern super clubs are willing to pay top dollar for, especially with fixture schedules getting more packed every year and squad flexibility becoming non-negotiable. 120 million euros is the market's plainest form of praise for a player who never disappoints. He's not the type who electrifies a stadium in one instant. He's the type who lets his coaching staff sleep at night. And that kind of value counts too. Number 8. Désiré Doué. 2 years ago, most people had never heard the name Doué. Now he's sitting at a 130 million euro valuation. This is the latest wave of French speed. The French academy system has been producing at an insane rate lately. After Mbappé, Kanté, Griezmann, there's another wave of talent still coming out of the pipeline, and Doué is just the newest sample. His dribbling is fluid, his first touch is remarkably consistent, he's not afraid to attack the box head-on against defenders, and his finishing isn't one-dimensional. Both feet are a threat. What's rarer is the fearlessness. A lot of young players arrive at a club like PSG, surrounded by a locker room full of global superstars, and go through an obvious timid phase, afraid to demand the ball, afraid to take risks with a key pass or a dribble in big moments. Doué doesn't have that problem. The bigger the stage PSG hands him, the faster he absorbs it. He's already started taking on finishing responsibility in crucial games. That kind of growth curve used to take 3 or 4 seasons to play out, climbing step by step from bench player to starter, then from starter to tactical centerpiece. Doué did it in under 2 years. That's a snapshot of where football is right now. The development timeline for young talent is getting radically compressed. Slow, patient development is being replaced by fast-track payoff. Number 7. Vinícius Jr. A year or two ago, most people wouldn't have believed Vinícius would land at this spot. He was once the closest thing football had to the best winger in the world after Messi and Ronaldo. When Real Madrid needed a spark, he was the guy who could rip a game open. The moment the ball hit the left flank, defenders instinctively had to take a step back because everyone knew what happened if you tried to go toe-to-toe with him. His burst of speed, the suddenness of his direction changes, the composure he showed against defenders for a few seasons, that combination made him the sharpest blade in Madrid's entire attack. He backed it up with goals in finals too, proving he could show up on the biggest stage. But here's the thing about valuations. They were never just about how good you once were. They're about whether the market still sees you as a bona fide core piece going forward. Football is a brutally realistic business. Form, consistency, injury history, even tactical fit, all of it gets priced in real time. As a new wave of generational talent floods the sport, even someone like Vinícius can't coast on past highlight reels to hold his spot. This isn't a knock on his ability. It just shows how demanding this business has become about value right now. Competition at the winger position is heating up fast too. Nearly every season brings one or two new elite-wide players, and defensive schemes built specifically to shut down wingers keep getting more refined, man-marking, zonal traps, offside triggers, you name it. In that kind of environment, staying at the top of the valuation charts takes more effort than ever, and Vinícius is no exception. Valuation, 140 million euros. Number 6. Florian Wirtz. Wirtz is the kind of player who writes the word creativity with his feet. The timing of his through balls, the speed of his turns with the ball at his feet, that shot from the edge of the box that just appears out of nowhere, he barely needs to cover ground to change a game. His ability to read the play is elite even among his own generation. A lot of players lean on physical tools or raw speed to make up for hesitation in decision-making. Wirtz doesn't need any of that. His brain is simply half a step ahead of the defense. Always. During his Bayer Leverkusen days, he was already one of the hardest players in the Bundesliga to contain. That team built an incredibly aggressive attacking system around him, and Wirtz backed up the trust season after season with goals and assists. His valuation kept climbing after the move to Liverpool, which tells you the market isn't reacting to a flash of brilliance, it's betting on his long-term ceiling. That 150 million euro price tag is buying scarcity. The ability to make a lethal decision in an incredibly tight space is one of the rarest things in football. Defensive intensity keeps climbing across the modern game, shrinking the room attacking players have to work with. Wirtz is exactly the type who still produces in those cramped spaces, and that's a skill set that would be scarce in any era. Number 5. Jude Bellingham. Bellingham is the type of player who walked into Real Madrid and immediately stole the spotlight from the entire roster. Most young players need time to adjust to a new environment, time to prove they're worth the price tag and the role. Bellingham skipped that step almost entirely. In his very first season, he was already delivering crucial goals while also carrying playmaking responsibility. And his defensive intensity never wavered either. Late runs into the box, shots from deep, tracking back to help win the ball, he does all of it, and does none of it poorly. That kind of complete, do-everything midfielder is rare anywhere in Europe. What's even rarer is the leadership. That's not something you can put a number on, but you see it the moment he steps on the pitch. He's willing to carry the team when they're down, willing to lift teammates up emotionally when it matters, willing to put himself on the line in the biggest moments. Real Madrid handed him the expectations of a franchise cornerstone, and he's basically never let them down. Bellingham's valuation curve is practically a textbook case. From breaking out at Borussia Dortmund to instantly becoming a core piece at Real Madrid, he skipped the adjustment period almost everyone expected him to need. That kind of adaptability is one of the most important and most overlooked hidden factors in how players get valued. Super clubs pay a premium for certainty, and Bellingham might be the best spokesperson that certainty has right now. Valuation, 150 million euros. Tied for 5th. Number 4. Jamal Musiala. Musiala isn't your classic speed-first winger. He's more like an attacking director wearing a winger's jersey. Whether it's the precision of his left foot, his sense of timing on a pass, his cutbacks after cutting inside, or his sudden changes of pace, he's got total command of the right flank. Traditional wingers tend to have their value concentrated in one dimension: fast, good dribbler, done. Musiala's value is spread wider. His left foot creates danger through crosses. His sudden rhythm shifts scramble a defender's timing. And when the moment calls for it, he finishes the play himself. Other names on this list are pure finishers, ripping defenses open with a burst of speed. Others are pure playmakers, running the show with vision and passing. Musiala's uniqueness is that he combines creativity and efficiency in the same package. He doesn't have to choose between looks good and actually works. Why are clubs willing to pay this much for him? Because a player like this, once fully matured, doesn't just plug a hole in one position. He has the potential to change how an entire attacking system functions. Bayern's track record of unearthing frontline talent has stayed remarkably strong over the years, and Musiala's rapid rise continues that tradition. He's got a rare anti-pattern quality to him. By conventional positional logic, he should mainly focus on dribbling and crossing, yet he's developed a serious appetite for shooting and finishing instead. That refusal to be boxed in by positional stereotypes is the core driver behind his fast-climbing valuation. 170 million euros, comfortably in fourth. Number 3, Kylian Mbappé. For years, Mbappé was basically synonymous with most valuable player in football. His speed on the pitch, his consistent scoring efficiency, his iconic World Cup moments, his massive commercial pull, it was all concentrated in one guy. Back then, when people talked about who topped the valuation charts, there was no suspense. The answer was Mbappé, full stop. But now that he's dropped to third, here's the thing. This isn't some story about the sport suddenly turning its back on him. His form hasn't visibly declined. His commercial pull is still enormous. His status as the core of his club and national team hasn't shifted an inch. The real reason is simple. The guys behind him caught up fast. The growth rate and maturation speed of this new generation has blown past anything football has seen before. Hitting near-peak valuations at 18 or 19 used to be unthinkable. Mbappé is still an unquestioned superstar. It's just that football today doesn't let anyone sit on the throne forever. Even if you were once the guy who left everyone else in the dust, the second you stop moving, the footsteps behind you catch up fast. If you really think about it, a player of Mbappe's caliber getting pushed out of the top 2 is, in its own way, proof of the times we're in, proof that this generation of young talent is rising fast enough to shake a hierarchy that once looked untouchable. This isn't a sad story about Mbappe. It's a snapshot of how much faster football's talent pipeline is turning over. Today's third-place finisher would have dominated the top spot for years in almost any other era. Valuation: 200 million euros. Number 1, tied. Erling Haaland and Lamine Yamal. 220 million euros. 2 players. Tied at number 1, Haaland and Yamal. One is 25. One is 18. One is a scoring machine. The other is a teenage prodigy. Completely opposite styles, standing at the exact same peak of football's value chart at the exact same time. That alone is worth sitting with for a second. Let's start with Haaland. If Mbappe represented the old throne, Haaland is the most terrifying goal-scoring machine in football today, bar none. His presence isn't flashy like a winger's, and it's not delicate like a midfielder's. If anything, he's the definition of brutally simple. But the second he steps into the box, he forces every defense to change how they operate. Center backs have to stay locked in every second. The goalkeeper has to adjust positioning around his runs. Defensive midfielders have to commit extra attention just to help contain him. One guy, and he drags the thinking of an entire back line along with him. A lot of elite forwards need a whole toolbox of extra skills to justify their status. Playmaking, dribbling, tracking back, as if being one-dimensional disqualifies you from being elite. Haaland doesn't need any of it. His language is the most direct, purest one in football. Goals. His shot on target rate, his conversion efficiency, these numbers have been crushing everyone else at his position for years running. That €220 million price tag isn't really buying a very good center forward. It's buying a kind of certainty, the guaranteed ability to turn a chance into a result. And what's even more notable is that his scoring efficiency hasn't dipped, even as opposing defenses study him more intensely. That's rare among elite strikers, and that continued evolution is a big reason his valuation has stayed locked at the top. Now, Yamal. The wildest thing about him was never really the €220 million number itself. It's that he's only 18, and the entire sport is already clearing a path for him in advance. Every other player on this list represents an already matured, elite skill set. Vinícius's explosiveness, Pedri's midfield vision, Haaland's dominant scoring threat, all things that take time, experience, and hundreds of matches to fully develop. Yamal is completely different. He feels like a brand new chapter that showed up after all these other stories. One that isn't finished yet, but you can already tell it's going to be something. At 18, he's already carrying key responsibility for both his club and his national team. At 18, he already plays with a composure under high pressure that most players never find. At 18, his one-on-one success rate, his passing creativity, his performances on the biggest stages already rival what most players only reach at the peak of their careers. Barcelona and the Spanish national team have already put their future on his shoulders without hesitation. And that trust alone says everything. What's even harder to wrap your head around is the composure he shows, facing the cameras and the media pressure. Nothing about it reads like an 18-year-old. Clutch assists in the biggest moments, composed decision-making under intense pressing. The self-awareness he shows in interviews, it's hard not to wonder just how high his ceiling actually goes. One player has redefined the game through pure efficiency. The other is rewriting the rules at the youngest age imaginable. These two names tied at number one is, in itself, the perfect footnote for this era. The valuation charts putting them at the very top together is really sending one message. Football's evaluation system no longer recognizes just one path to success. Proven, reliable certainty, and unwritten, unlimited potential. In the eyes of the market, they're worth exactly the same. From the era of Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar, to today's new power struggle led by Yamal, Haaland, and Mbappe, the wealth map of world football is being redrawn.